Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Today we're going to be talking about Survivor Season 44, Episode 11. So we are back from Tribal Council and Carolyn is heated. She is so pissed off that Jam Jam and Carson voted for Franny and left her out. But like I said, she wasn't really left out because they told her what they wanted to do. She just didn't agree with it. But Carolyn is so highly emotional that, and I don't think maybe she is all the time, but this situation kind of lends for it. You're in a situation where you're not really eating, you're all by yourself, you don't even have any family influence. It's just you and these people all the time. And she is just pissed. She feels betrayed. She doesn't want to talk to them. She doesn't want to work with them. She is just upset. And Jam Jam was like, this backfired. But it's a game, and I'm hoping, as I'm watching it that she can get over it, because girl, get over it, right? And I love Carolyn, and I feel like I didn't want people to see her anger as a way to sow the seed of getting rid of Jam Jam and Carson and her agreeing with it, right? I didn't want that to happen. Danny, on the other hand, is trying to figure out who put his name down. There was one vote on Danny, and he's like, who was it? He's talking to Heidi about it. It's Heidi. But she's like, it wasn't me. I think it's Franny, XYZ. I'm pretty sure it's her because she probably knew you were gunning for her. And he believes her. He's like, you're my closest ally. I have no choice but to believe what you're saying, which honestly, you have to, right? If you can't trust your closest ally, Survivor isn't the game for you, right? Because you should be able to trust your closest ally. There's really nothing else going on in this game if you can't trust your closest ally. The people are doing yoga with Jamie, and it's cute because it's good to see that it isn't just all backstabbing and game. They do have time to talk to each other, get to know each other, be one with each other. And I used to wonder why Survivor players would get off the show and be so close. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you spend 39 days with people and whatever, but I think about it and I'm like, if I went on Survivor, I spent 39 days with you in deuces. If we was cool, we cool. If we're not cool, we're not cool. But it seems like most of these people get off the show. There's no beef. Everybody's okay. Yeah, one person won $1 million. Yes, it was a competition, but we're all cool. And I guess it's because you don't sometimes realize that there are 24 hours in a day. Only 3, 4, or 5 of those is given to challenge, tribal council, and whatever. Maybe they're able to sleep 2, 3 hours, and every other waking moment, they're just in each other's face, in each other's space, knowing every intimate detail about them, right? Because you shower in the ocean, you poop, you pee, you're doing every personal thing. So I guess it kind of makes sense, right? You feel a bond to these people, whether they were on your season or another season. Meeting people who have gone through that same experience, it's definitely going to build a bond. So sometimes you have to see these moments of them doing yoga with Jamie to be reminded that that's really what's going on outside of that 1 hour that they condense it to, that we see. And we know tribal council is maybe an hour, maybe, I don't know. The challenges, immunity challenges, reward challenges, they're usually a few hours, but the rest of the time it's just them having to get to know each other and talk to each other because you don't have nobody else. If my sister pisses me off, I'll call another sister. If my friend pisses me off, I'll call another friend, right? But you don't get that over there. And sometimes watching a 1 hour edited version of a show, you forget that. We get Heidi's story finally. We find out that she's an immigrant. I said immigrant. She's not an immigrant. Puerto Rico is a United States territory. We find out that she came from Puerto Rico to the United States. She learned English. She struggled in high school, but it's, a struggle of tribulations and triumph. I told you that's the only people they pick. If you don't have no tribulations, you ain't finna be on Survivor. Maybe not bad ones, I don't know, but you have to have a story because they have to be able to tell your story with that little good emotional music and your old pictures playing. Or did they tell your story, right? And we found out that she's an electrical engineer. She went to school. She got a master's. She's really freaking smart. She works out a lot. I actually ended this little bit like, oh, that's Heidi's story. Like, I felt like, wow, okay. And I guess they have to do that because y'all know up until today, I was like, they can keep her, they can get rid of her. I didn't really care. But I was like, okay, I kind of like this girl. I'm not saying that changes how I feel on if they should keep her or get rid of her. But it does make me be like, wow, she's likable. Carolyn finally comes to Jam Jam and Carson and she's like, I'm over it. We good. I trust you. And the truth is, I mean, you should be able to have the space to be angry and be emotional. I think sometimes we forget that we as humans are emotional beings because it seems so much that on this show, a lot of people are very calculated. Everybody's able to just move on. No one is like overly angry. I mean, we haven't seen it in a long time. Everybody's like, oh, it's a game. It's this, it's that, but we haven't seen it in a long time. People just truly being angry. And I think that's okay. I'm hungry. I haven't slept. I'm an emotional wreck. I haven't seen my family. And so I kind of sympathize with Carolyn and understand her. Like, maybe it's not that big of a deal, but in that hour, 2 hours, it was the world to me. And I think we kind of have to understand that and give her grace for that, but also kind of hope that we see it more from other people rather than 100% gameplay all the time from everybody where things just don't bother them. Like even Jam Jam, when his name kept getting put out there, like he was angry and he brought it up, but he wasn't just like, I'm mad. It was like, okay, I'm just going to take it lightly. Like, no, you're mad and let them know you're mad. Stomp your feet, beat your chest. It's okay. Think about it. You're sitting in the wild. You ain't ate food and you're upset. Show it. But maybe people are worried about getting voted out. So I understand that, right? Because at the end of the day, every action you take probably has a reaction, right? But I do love the fact that Carolyn gives way for her emotions to get out there. Jam Jam then tells Danny, like, hey, I know who voted you out. It was Heidi. Danny is like, my closest ally. So he basically goes and tries to suss it out with Heidi. And she's like, no. So Danny's like, oh, Tika's trying to split us up. They're dangerous. And it's like, yeah, Tika's dangerous, but they're not trying to split y'all up. He was telling the truth. I mean, he is trying to split y'all up, but he was trying to split y'all up with the truth. Heidi was the person who voted for you. Like, that's what's funny because it's like all this, but low-key, he was telling the truth. That's who voted for you. So now everybody is like, all right, Tika is trying to play this game. Let's get rid of them. We cannot trust them. We have to split up that Tika 3. Like Ratu came with 4, we came with 3, and now we're both down to 2. Like, how is Tika still the only people that has their 3 people intact? So they're like, no, we got to get rid of them. We have to do something. So now Tika has the target on their back. We see Carolyn in the water. She's having a blast. And like I said, these are those moments that remind us, like, this is not just a game. These people are spending every waking moment living in this environment. And like I said, we have kind of gotten away from that in Survivor. Like, we're more so focused on the strategy and the competitions and immunity challenges and immunity idols and this and that. And you forget, like, 24 hours is a long time. And you ain't got work, you ain't got friends, you ain't got nothing, you ain't got brunch and mimosas. You just have these people. And so seeing Carolyn enjoying the water, like I said, my squeaky chair, it's so loud. Seeing them, Carolyn enjoying the water, like I said, Jamie doing yoga with everybody, it's kind of nice to remember that they're there trying to survive while also doing this other stuff. Yeah, so now the Tika 3, like I said, they have targets because they think Carson is so smart. He's never going to miss a puzzle. Jam Jam is so personable. Everybody likes them. So Danny's like, it has to be one of them two. We have to get rid of Jam Jam or Carson if they don't win immunity. And basically, they didn't even care about them winning immunity because in their eyes, they didn't think that Jam Jam was going to win immunity. It's like Carson may win if there's a puzzle, but if it's a physical challenge, one of us will probably win and we'll be able to vote out Jam Jam. So this immunity challenge is the Rising Tide one that they did last season, which didn't have a winner. And they ended up letting 2 people win, which makes me think like, why would you ever do that challenge again? Jeff, come on. Production, y'all lazy. Y'all should have come up with a new challenge. Because honestly, I don't understand why that challenge is being done after it failed last season. I'm not saying, it has worked up until last season, but I think that last season should have been like, we shouldn't do this anymore. We should just do something else, But either way, they go ahead with the challenge, and they're actually there pretty long before the tide rises high enough for Lauren to drop out. She's the first to drop out. She drops out in an hour. Prior to her dropping out, Jeff's trying to ask her questions. She's like, Jeff, don't talk to me because honestly, I can't even focus. I'm trying to survive. Which was kind of funny. I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but I busted up laughing. I was like, girl, let him know, because Jeff be annoying sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, Jeff, talk to them, kind of distract them from maybe the pain they're going through or whatever. But sometimes it's just like, shut up, Then Jamie drops next, and then Carson drops, and then Carolyn drops, and we're left with Danny, Heidi, and Jam Jam. I am watching this thinking that, okay, they gave us Heidi's backstory. She's definitely going to win this challenge. I was convinced. I was sure of it. I was like, that's what's going to happen. Because then Danny drops. And I'm like, yep, just like I suspected. Unfortunately, Jam Jam, you ain't going to make it. But in a twist of luck, Heidi drops out and Jam Jam is left. And they're calling him and calling him and calling him. Danny actually had to physically jump back into the water to let Jam Jam know that he had won. That man was not going to stop. He was either going to win or die. That is where Jam Jam was. He had tuned everything out. He wasn't worried about nothing. And he said, it's win or die here. Which I appreciated. Which it's almost like, because we see this happen all the time, and it's like, did somebody tip him off that he has to win immunity? We see it happen a lot in Survivor, where it's like, everybody's like, this person's going home, and then that person wins immunity. And it's like, is it happenstance, or is this actually just dumb luck? But he wins for the first time. I'm so excited for him. It's one of those things. I think everybody goes out to Survivor okay, I'm going to play as hard as I can. Some people probably don't think that they'll win any challenges, or they think that they'll just do decently and kind of make it along based on their social skills. But Jam Jam proved that he's not just a social player. He is a threat in challenges by winning. And I'm proud of him for that. So Danny's like, all right, we're voting out Carson. When they get back to camp, he's like, that's it. Carson got to go. He don't have immunity, and we are going to get more puzzles. So if we can't get him out now, that's it. Heidi agrees. They go to Lauren and Jamie, and they're like, hey, this is the plan. We're getting out Carson, and when we go to any of the Tika, we're going to tell them that it's you and Jamie. Or I forgot who they said, but I think it's Lauren and Jamie. And for the first time, people get told that it's their name, and they don't panic. I was shocked because, as soon as people say, oh, we're going to use your name as the dummy name, everybody's like, oh, I don't even want people to put that in their heads. And it's like, y'all be making sure a plan don't work because y'all be panicking, right? Like, it's your panic. It's like, you know, what did they call it? Like something, I can't think of the phrase right now, but you speak it into existence by like panicking. Like if you had just let your name be a fake name, then it would be fine. But now that you've said it and you're panicking, you actually make yourself a target. And so they go, Danny tells Carolyn that they're planning to split the vote between Lauren and Jamie. That's why he tells Carolyn, Jam Jam, and Carson. And they're all like, okay, great, perfect. But my girl Carolyn was like, something about that don't seem right. She even asked Danny right then and there, is this the real plan or is this the fake plan you're telling me to, get me to go along? And he's like, no, it's the real plan. And Carolyn's like, something's not sitting right with her. And baby, when I tell you Carolyn's intuition has been spot on for 11 episodes straight. Like, I don't even know what gut she has, but baby, I want that gut. I want the gut that Carolyn has because she be feeling it like, something's not quite right. And she was so much like, something's not right. Something's just not right. And she went to Carson and she's like, Carson, I think it's you. She told Jam Jam, I think it's Carson. Earlier, Jam Jam asked Carolyn if she had the Tika idol and she denied it. But now she's telling Carson, I have an idol. Now, this is where I think Carolyn has made her first mistake, because I think that she should have just told them, Carson, I think it's you. And if they get to the vote and it appears that it's going to go on Carson, then she should just play the idol without anybody ever knowing. What I was afraid is that someone else might find out about this idol before they get to tribal council, and then now this idol player's room. Like, I was really, really nervous about that, because once that idol information is out there, you have no idea how other people are going to use it and how they're going to, help or hurt your game. So I was really, really nervous for her, and I was like, oh, don't do it. But she tells him, and I guess, like, you have to trust your people, right? Like, you just have to trust them. Carson then asks Lauren and Jamie to vote out Danny, and Lauren and Jamie are now like, oh, we hold all the power, right? We're in between the Tika 3 and Danny and Heidi. We could either vote with Danny and Heidi and get Carson out, or we can go with the Tika 3 and get rid of Danny or Heidi. They're like, but either way, no one's actually talking about us, despite our names being the fake names that were thrown out. So I'm sure they was like, whatever y'all want to do, we'll figure it out. So she's afraid. Carolyn is like really, really like just going through it, trying to think through probably every scenario of what can happen, playing her idol, not playing her idol, how people vote, like, because she is just stressed. Okay, like, she was stressed, and you can just read it on her. She is just very, very, very stressed. They go back and forth about putting votes on Heidi just in case there's another idol, or just doing all Danny, and it's just like a lot. It's a lot. And honestly, it's just, I was stressed. Like, I was watching it like, please stick to a decision, make one and stick to a decision, because I can't go back and forth with you. Like, I need Carolyn to be making the right decision right now, because I'm not ready for her to go. And so when they get to tribal council, Jam Jam is threatening because he got the little immunity idol around his neck. And I think like everybody's excited to see it on him, because it was probably shocking to them. No one thought he was going to win immunity. He he's good, but he's obviously not the strongest. So I think everybody who's on the jury is kind of excited to see him with the immunity idol around his neck. He's talking about, second guessing himself. Carolyn is stressed. The stress that she had on the beach is now at tribal council. Her stress didn't leave. It like tripled, quadrupled, exponentially grew while she walked to tribal council. Tensions are high. She talk about she losing sleep. Danny's kind of like chill, like, win or lose, I know what I'm doing. Other people know what they're doing, so I'm just not going to stress over it. And Carolyn's like, I disagree. She don't like what he's saying. Lauren says something. She don't like what she's saying. And, Jeff's like, Carolyn, are you annoyed right now? And she's like, yes, I am. And then I think I forgot what he said to her. And then she like looks upset. And he's like, wait, are you mad at me too? And she was like, yes. But, I just, like I said, it's nice to see one person kind of just feel all the emotions that they're feeling out there without worrying about game. And I do think Carolyn should worry about game 100%, but it is nice to see a little bit, just a little bit of someone being normal. Like, these are things, like, everybody's paranoid. Everybody always talks about the paranoia. Like, you can be angry with somebody for a day, but no one wants to do that because they're like, well, if I'm angry, then I don't want them to think. Everybody's thinking like 2-3 steps ahead instead of just living in, I'm angry in this moment. And I'm going to get over it, or I may get over it, or I may not get over it. But right now in this moment, I'm angry. And we're going to reassess in an hour or an hour and a half. Carson talks about his insecurities, being a quirky nerd. He's nervous. I think they're all pretty nervous. Anybody who doesn't have, I think Carson is nervous. I think Jamie and Lauren probably don't feel anyway. I think Danny and Heidi felt very secure in their vote and what was going on. But despite Carolyn having an idol, and despite Carolyn knowing the importance of keeping the Tika 3, because if it's Tika 3 against 2 Ratu and 1 Soka, or 2 Soka and 1 Ratu, either way, they gonna have the majority, right? Because it's 3 voting together, and either someone's gonna join them or get voted off, right? So it's kind of interesting to see that despite knowing the importance of all of this, she is like panicking. So they go to vote. Everybody goes, they vote because everybody knows what they're doing. But the way it's portrayed, which I think it is that way, Carolyn is up there for I don't know how long, but it's longer than usual. And everybody just standing around, looking around like, what's going on? Carolyn's counting out the ways. I think she's counting out the ways, how, counting out the ways of what the probabilities of each situation is. And honestly, it just goes to show that Carolyn is so much smarter than what people think she is. Like, I never thought she was dumb. I think she has shown every single episode just how smart she is, just how much she's thinking about this game. But just because she's very highly emotional, people write her off as she's not good at the game. And I'm kind of like, what's up with you guys? So Carolyn comes back from her vote, and Jeff's like, we're going to tally the vote. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol or advantages they'd like to play, please do so now. And it's like a long pause, and then Carolyn's like, Jeff? And everybody's like, she's like, I have an idol and I want to play this for Carson. And I was like, whoa! And so Jeff's like, this is a hidden immunity idol. Any votes count. Voted against Carson will not count. Immediately, Heidi's face drops. Immediately, she looks so angry. Danny looks pissed. Jamie and Lauren are shocked. Jam Jam is shocked because he didn't know. The only person that knew was Carson. He's like thanking Carolyn profusely, giving her hugs, whatever. And then Jeff starts reading the votes. First vote, Carson. Does not count. Next vote, Carson. Does not count. Next vote, I believe it was Danny. Next vote, I believe it was Danny. Next vote, Heidi. Next vote, Heidi. And then the final vote, and then what next member of their jury was Danny. I was like, thank God. Didn't I tell y'all last episode that if Danny doesn't go next, he's going to win this whole thing? Because he was really rallying and telling everybody what to do. Like, he had it in the bag if they didn't immediately vote him out. So I'm really glad that he left. But this now does make way for one of these characters like Jamie or Lauren or Heidi to kind of step up and win, surprisingly, right? Like, I know it sounds crazy, but because the Tika 3 is still there, but if any one of them is good enough to sow the seeds of distrust between the Tika 3, they will win that game. Whoever is able to do it, they're gonna win, because all you need is for the Tika 3 to not stand together just once. That's all you need, just once, and then they're done. Because then the three of you guys can stand together, and then you'll have the power over the two that are left. So whoever, Jamie, Lauren, Heidi, whoever's the smartest one, needs to work hard on getting them to get out one of their own. But who knows? So I was really upset Carolyn used her idol, because she didn't need to, right? She could have saved it for down to 5 and used it on herself. But then at the same time, Carson would have known she had an idol, and then who knows how that would have went, right? So I guess it kind of worked out the way it had to work out. But I'm really nervous now for Carolyn, because she just made a huge move and used an idol that no one knew about, showing that she's way smarter, like actually physically showing, because she has been cast off as just crazy, dumb, and emotional, and she has just now shown and proven to everybody, the jury and the people sitting next to her, that she is nothing to be played with. My girl is nothing to be played with, period. Okay? Don't sleep on her. But at the same time, when you make such a move, now there's a target on your back. Can Carolyn win an immunity challenge, right? Will they want to take her along to the end? Is she the GOAT they thought she was, right? Jamie's now the GOAT. Jamie ain't done nothing. So it's like, what do you do? Do you take your closest ally, Carolyn? You guys said Tika 3 to the end. Are you going to do that? Or are you going to try to take one of these women? Lauren's won a challenge. Heidi hasn't won anything, I don't think. And Jamie hasn't won anything. So it's like, what do you do? But Heidi has the potential to beat you if you take her, right? She's made fire. She does all this stuff. So it's like, what do you do? Do you take Carolyn, who has actually been playing this game this whole time, very smart, very calculated? Do you take Lauren, who can win challenges and is clearly a pretty good, like, overall person? Do you take Jamie, who's actually now the GOAT? She hasn't won anything. She hasn't really done anything. She had a fake idol for half the season. Like, what do? Who knows? Jam Jam and Carson are in a position to really have to think and look within. Does Carson want to take Jam Jam, who everybody loves? Does Jam Jam want to take Carson, who's probably going to beat him in these puzzles, right? Do you vote that person out to guarantee your space, to make sure that they don't beat you in that last challenge and decide who comes? Like, it's too much, right? And I'm excited to see how it all plays out. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts. What are you guys looking at? What is really important to you this season? Who do you think is going to win, right? What are you expecting for this next episode? I'm so excited. I think that this play by Carolyn has really shaken things up, and I'm just so excited to see what comes next. See you guys next time, though. Bye.